The Mets are just one win away from the postseason. Their magic number to get in is 1 this coming after the Mets 5-0 victory over the Brewers on Sunday. Now the Mets will play a doubleheader in Atlanta on Monday, where a win and they are in the MLB playoffs. Let's talk some Mets baseball. We're going to do it with the host of the Subway to Shea podcast. My guy Anthony Rivera joins me now. Anthony, how you doing, man?
A breath or a sigh of relief, however the term goes, happy to still be in it. 1 win away, just like you said, from getting into the postseason. So let's get that win done.
Hey, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear the good vibes. You've been preaching positivity when we talked last Sunday, and it was been a rough week for the Mets with cancellation of games. And then what I'll get to right here as to start is that this weekend wasn't going well for the Mets, right? They had lost 2 of the first 3 games of the series, but then you see them win this game on Sunday, 5-0. All season long, Anthony, we've talked about the fight and the resiliency of this Mets team. Did Sunday's win, did you feel like it was emblematic of that? Did it show that fight and resiliency that we've talked about all season long with this Metropolitans team?
I think so. This team needed that bounce back on Sunday, whether the Diamondbacks, Braves won, lost, didn't matter. This team needed to win to just get themselves another opportunity to be within a game now. And they are within a game of getting into the postseason. Much needed, big performances all the way around. And they took care of business just as needed to be, because we've seen in the past that this team was maybe not ready for the limelight, maybe not ready for the bright lights and the big spot, and they finally came through here. Now 1 more hurdle to get across.
Just 1 more hurdle for the Metropolitans to get across, and one of the big reasons they were able to get across this hurdle is Francisco Lindor, Anthony. He looked all the way back on Sunday. He reaches base 3 times. He also homers. We've talked all year long about him, right? He's played at an MVP level. But when you look at this season and you look at game number 160 in this 5-0 win over the Brewers, was this Lindor's most impressive big-time performance of the season in your eyes?
I think so, considering everything that has gone on this season for him, basically carrying this team on his back, literally, and now physically, as we've seen throughout the week of him being out and how he was missed. Yeah, the Mets really needed Francisco Lindor, big-time performance from your leadoff hitter like he's done all season long. And the biggest takeaway for me today, outside of the home run, outside of getting on base 3 times, was his ability to steal bases. He stole 2 today, still has a chance for a 30-30 season, now sitting at 29 stolen bases. But what that tells me is his back is feeling better. I know he came around home to score, and he kind of crawled up a little bit before he got up, but in the post-game, he said his back was feeling fine, that the trainers are doing great work there, and that's the most important thing. We're going to get the best of Francisco Lindor in these next 2 games. I guarantee you, whether they win or lose, he will be a part of both games, except, I guess, if they win game 1, then maybe they'll rest him. But if they need to win game 2, he's going to be playing both games for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Big-time performance for Francisco Lindor all season, and as I said on Sunday. Now, speaking of big-time performances, it wasn't just the hitting of Francisco Lindor. The Mets needed a big-time pitching performance on Sunday, and they got that from David Peterson. This has been a incredible turnaround. I'm almost at a loss for words in terms of what David Peterson has done. How has he turned his career around, what you've seen from him this season, Anthony?
He's just fully healthy now. I know that he had the hip surgery in the offseason, and that kind of just turned everything around. Everything that he needed in the offseason to have that surgery was taken care of, comes back, goes 10-3 this season with a 2.90 ERA. What a season for David Peterson. And he was kind of that linchpin to the rotation. You know, we talked about who was going to step up when Kodai Senga went down. Even Tyler McGill went down. They had Adrian Hauser, and he did nothing. Here comes along David Peterson, and he just was dealing all season long. And we talk about if this was Francisco Lindor's biggest game as a New York Met, this was David Peterson's defining moment as a New York Met. And hopefully it only gets better from there, and that gives him the opportunity to be a part of this rotation for even a longer time.
Yeah, it's hard not to argue this wasn't his biggest pitching performance as a Met that we saw from him on Sunday. A tremendous job there. Okay, Anthony, here we go. This is it. This is the time. Monday, the Mets play 2 down in the ATL. They have to get a win. Basically, they just can't get swept. If they don't get swept, they are in the playoffs. So, in your eyes, what do the Mets have to focus on Monday to ensure that they get a win and punch their ticket to the postseason?
Well, we know Schwellenbach is going in game one. He's handled the Mets pretty well the couple times that he's faced them. The Mets offense, that lineup needs to start working counts, needs to start, getting on base and making these pitchers work. Him, and if you include Chris Sale, if they have to go game two as well. But I think the most important thing is for this Mets team to do their best to get game one. I know Tyler McGill's going, and who would have thought that the balance of the season would come down to Tyler McGill in going in game one of the most important game of the season. They really need him to step up and have a big-time performance. It would be nice to see a big performance from the offense, where although they got 5 runs today against a pitcher in Colin Ray, who has not been good this season. But, if they can get one of these pitchers and take care of business, I think this will be a good thing for this Mets. They will make it into the playoffs. And, taking game one is very important, because it allows the Mets to now rest Severino to go in game one of the wild card series and push back Sean Manaea. And also what it does is it makes the Braves go to Chris Sale, and which means Chris Sale and Schwellenbach would not be available for their series when it comes to the wild card if they both split and make it in.
Yeah, will be interesting to see. A very obviously important Monday for the Mets, as they will play games 161 and 162. But after 160 games, the Mets just need one win, and they are in. Anthony Rivera, the host of the Subway to Shea podcast, he is hoping that, along with the rest of Mets Nation, who will have their eyes glued to the doubleheader down in Atlanta. Anthony, pleasure talking some Mets baseball with you all season long. Got a couple more games to go, and then we can hopefully talk some postseason baseball.
I hope so, Dexter. And as Tug McGraw said, you got to believe.
Got to believe. We shall see. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you.